For the KNUJ Sam 1073 March newsletter, we thought it'd be a good idea to catch up with the sports director, Tom Wheeler, and talk about, is it going to be March Madness in high school sports this year?
Well, yeah, it will be, Brian. It'll be late. It'll just be pushed back a little bit later is how it's going to go. It's going to be more towards the end of March and into the first part of April as they're winding down regular season games yet. Really for all sports right now at this time, and then they're going to get the section tournaments up and running here shortly, and all the major sports that we cover and broadcast on the air anyway.
So tournaments will run until when?
Well, you figure the last one is going to be the boys and girls basketball. Though everything's going to be condensed and playing at the same time, and that'll be April 9th and 10th is when the semis and the championship will be played for both the boys and the girls, and they'll be taking place at Target Center. Quarterfinals will be held, for example, April 6th and 8th, and then of course quarterfinals. That was the semis, excuse me, will be 6 and 8, and then the quarterfinals will be March 30th and 31st. Those will be at high seeds, and then the last two games will be played at Target Center. So you figure the winter season is going to be done April 10th, is what the goal is here that the State High School League would like to have done.
Okay, so the way I understand it, boys and girls basketball, boys and girls hockey, those state tournaments take place at the same time?
Pretty much, yeah. They'll be happening at high seeds for both boys and the girls. If you want to look at hockey here, that's right around the corner here. Like sections get started on the 15th of March, and then at the hockey quarters will be March 26th and 27th, and then the boys quarters will be March 30, 31st, and then the semis will be played April 1st through April 3rd, and all games will be played at the Xcel Energy Center for the state tournament. Keep in mind as well too, it's your one and done. There's no third place, there'll be no consolation or anything like that. So they'll go and play their quarterfinal game. If you win, you move to the next day. Basically that's how it is. If you lose, you're done. You go home.
So tournaments going through like April 10th. What does that mean for the KNUJ Player of the Year banquet?
Well, obviously that's been pushed back too. Normally that's like the 24th of March. And so now it'll be almost 3 weeks later. We're gonna once again, due to the pandemic, we can't gather. We could, but I don't think we will. And we're just gonna have another radio banquet, and that's gonna be April 15th is when we will get together and have our radio banquet, and then pick our Players of the Year in basketball for boys and girls, and our Wrestler of the Year as well.
For those that are unfamiliar with it, Player of the Year, what is it all about? Quickly.
Player of the Year banquet is each week we coaches nominate a player that they feel is worthy of being a Player of the Week, how their stats were from the week before, and then they come to the Player of the Week show, which is brought to you by Wilborg Chevrolet, and we have them there, and we talk with a boys player, a girls player, and then a wrestler. And then at the end of the year, from all those weeks, we bring them. Well, normally we bring them all together, and then we have a banquet, and then we pick a Player of the Year in each respective sport. So this year, the last two now have been radio banquets, and this next one will be our third radio banquet that we'll be doing.
And again, the date quickly?
April 15th, about 6 o'clock. That's a Thursday.
KNUJ Sam 1073 Sports Director Tom Wheeler talking about March Madness and the KNUJ Player of the Year Radio Banquet.